years until I can go on the senior
61's coming soon.
Hey,
Go on the
hey.
senior tour, yeah. Those
Live,
seniors
boys.
are-
You want to talk about pickleball? We can.
Of course you do.
Start the show. Yeah, let me start the show, and then we'll go to pickleball. Welcome, America, to the Eric and Rodney Show with Robin. It's presented by, let me see, the Irish Surf Council and the ericandrodneyshow.com. Have you ever watched this show and thought to yourself, is my audio echoing? Should I be on this show? You should be on this show. You should go to our website and fill out an application. We probably won't say yes, but you can try. And trying is very important in life. Then you're going to be on this show. You're going to be on, oh my God, you are going to want to be on other shows. I have the flu. Stop yelling at me. We can book you on 1 million shows. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but it's not. There's a lot of shows. We can get you on them. And then you go, I was so good on that show, in this show, and that show. Why am I letting other people interview me? I should be interviewing them. You're right. You should have your own show. We can do that for you. Head on over to ericrodney.com. Get yourself a show. Ladies and gentlemen, very special guest today. Welcome to the show, Paul Daniels Jr., the founder and CEO of Peripheral Thinkers. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Paul.
Yeah, boy.
Long-time viewer, first-time guest. Thank you so much.
Long-time caller, first time. Is that how that's what he goes?
Long-time listener.
Long-time listeners.
What's up, Garrett?
Garrett, how are you, buddy? Can I just make an update here? I just want to give you an update of how we're changing lives here at our show.
Yep.
Someone applied to be on our show. Robin informed me this morning. Someone applied to be on the show, and now we are proud to announce they have somehow ended up with a job at KFC.
Wow, not bad. Not bad.
Changing lives. Changing lives.
Wow.
So if you apply to be on the show, you may end up as a barista.
Can I get their name? I want to network with that guy.
We'll send it in the post-show notes.
It is really LinkedIn at its finest.
Well, this is what we do here. We change lives. We're just people helping people, Paul. We are people helping people.
Yeah, you are.
All right.
Yeah, you are.
So I know that you're an avid fan of the show, and who isn't at this point, really? But just as a structural point, we cover the news because America demands our opinions on such things. I'm going to be able to talk by the end of this hour. I swear to science. And then it's the evening gown portion where we interview you. But before we get to that, every day in this country, some reason to celebrate, some exciting thing to talk about. That's my resume. And today's no different. Today is National Cupcake Day. Oh, remember cupcakes? Remember when cupcakes were a big deal? Would you like some cupcake facts? I know you would.
Right?
I know I would.
Thank you, Rodney. So cupcakes were invented in 1796. They made their first appearance in a cookbook in 1828. In the 1950s, someone suggested that they put frosting on the cupcakes. You're never going to guess who it is. Winston Churchill.
Oh, my God.
This guy contributed so much. Those jowls suggest to me that this is a man that loves frosting.
He gave so much and asked so little.
Exactly. He's a true humanitarian.
Can I just ask a question? though? Hold on. Let me back up. You said they were invented in 1792. Is that what I heard?
1796. Yep.
1796, and then they got into a cookbook in 1892. 28. Sorry. And then how long was it from the end to the end? And he said, let's get some.
So from 1828 until 1950, they didn't put frosting on cupcakes. I know.
Now let me ask you a question for those that don't know.
Cupcake unless it has frosting.
Well, I'm going to clear up two things. First, this isn't Ed Brimley. Or no, what was his name? What was the
Wilfred Brimley? Diabetes.
Wilfred Brimley. This isn't Wilfred.
No.
But second question is this man wasn't known for baking, was he?
I'm not sure what Winston Churchill contributed.
Yeah,
I don't
not for
think
baking,
it was baking. No.
I think it was a
What
misunderstanding.
Booker's
I think
doing?
he actually asked for ice with his scotch, and someone said icing and put it on his cake.
And bada bingo, bada bango. Now
I got to be honest. If this guy is the one that came up with it, he has a newfound respect.
I know, right?
Wow.
I think
What were the bakers doing? What were the bakers doing?
So for 1828 to 1950, for 120 years, it never occurred to put frosting on a fucking cupcake to anybody.
Never occurred.
Any baker in the world. Thank God for Winston Churchill.
And here's the thing: weren't they frosting cakes? Real cakes?
They must have been. So they had. I know.
It's like the donut people. They were like, we got to put the holes in it, and we'll just throw away the things that come out of the holes. Crazy idea. Let's sell them both.
It's fucking insanity. Proportioning is much more accurate in cupcakes than those sloppy full-size cake wedges. True modern marvel of. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up, Garrett, because I think you and I are on opposite spectrums here. So, okay, there's one thing in 2010, I think we hit peak cupcake. It was too much. Like the cupcakes were everywhere. There were shows about baking cupcakes. There were cupcake trucks. Bakeries were going full cupcakes. We couldn't.
Robin was identified as a cupcake.
Exactly.
So it was
everywhere.
A weird
it was
period. Wild times.
It was strange times. We started putting bacon on cupcakes. We just ran out of every idea, and I think we're on the back end here. But so, Garrett, here's my issue with the cupcake. I don't think it is properly portioned. I think the cake to frosting ratio was way the fuck off. Look at this. It's way. How do you bite this without getting frosting up your nostrils? Do you guys know? Have you ever attempted to eat a cupcake?
You got to wear a mask.
You have to wear a mask.
To unhinge your jaw.
Yeah, like a goddamn python. Yeah, like this is the only way you can do it. And look at this. This is not proportional at all. They're stuffing cupcakes. There's the cake ratio to the goo is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's. I'm not.
I'd say frosting to cupcake should be like 1/3. 1/3 frosting, the other's cupcake.
Yeah, but it's never is. This looks.
I came up with a great idea as well. Is that you come in? Listen to this idea I had. You come in and you say, "Listen, this is the kind of cupcake I want, whatever flavor." And then we frost it for you while you're standing there.
Okay.
An idea for frosting, because people are like, I never know what to put on a cupcake. I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
Grab you a big old jar of Nutella.
Oh my God, Nutella is so good. You know what?
Have you copyrighted that idea yet? I've got a business.
No, but I always thought that. Like people are like, what kind of frosting should I use? Nutella.
Yep. You know what I found out yesterday? So you know how I went to the physical and my cholesterol sky high? You know what has 0 cholesterol?
Nutella.
I can eat that all day.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I thought Nutella was made out of like palm oil or something, and it's supposed to be really bad for you. It's also like
no, they said read the back. No, they said read the back. It was fine. And,
yeah,
it's made from all natural hazelnuts. The hazelnuts are organic.
Mm-hmm.
So great news. I can eat Nutella again.
I have heard that a hack with cupcake eating is that you take it, you rip the bottom half of the cupcake, and then you put it on top and make like a cake sandwich. Have you seen this life hack?
I have another life hack. Take the bottom of it, throw it in the trash.
Just eat the frosting.
I got another hack. Grab a big spoon and some frosting. Yeah.
Exactly. Just skip the cake. You know what? We're just going to go. We're going to bypass the cake. People are like, I wish I could bake a cake. Just eat the frosting. That's all we care about. Nobody wants that mess.
Yeah. Frosting, a cigar, and some scotch. You're perfect.
Exactly.
All right. Well, before we move on, how do you feel about sprinkles on pastries?
It's like glitter.
Unnecessary.
I had an art teacher one time, friend, and you know what he said to me? We were adults. This wasn't when I was a child, and he was an art teacher, and he said that glitter is the gonorrhea of the art world.
That's right.
Right.
Stripper dust.
Because the kids get it everywhere. Same thing with sprinkles. It's the gonorrhea of the cake of the baking world.
I agree. And it's superfluous. They're crunchy and they don't taste like anything. They're just annoying. I don't like them.
It's just a waste of time.
It's a waste of, I mean, I guess they're pretty, but
there's something really weird that I found out. Dutch people eat chocolate sprinkles for breakfast, and they put it on toast. I don't know if you've seen that.
Have you seen this?
I've tried it. It's really delightful. I forget what it's called, but it's really good.
Stop it. Toast with sprinkles on it is good.
Yeah,
I got another idea I want to share with you.
Butter.
How about we make chocolate squares and put them in cereal?
Oh,
well, I think we've done that already, haven't we?
In a few different varieties, yes.
Yeah. What is it, Captain Choco? Or the vampire is the vampires.
Count Chocula.
Count Chocula. I think he's got that market cornered.
All right, you want to move on from Count Chocula to Vladimir Putin? They're the same person in a lot of ways.
Well, Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. Yes, yeah. The first Dracula. Absolutely. All right, what do you got? Serve it up there, Robin.
So at this point, it's going to sound a little bit like really old news. So on the first few weeks with Ukraine invasion and all, we were all very engaged. Everyone was, in the West at least, was extremely on board on defeating the evil that was a full-blown Russian invasion. When we look at it now, people just kind of seem to forget it's even still happening. So it's gotten to a point where Russia just seems unbeatable because Ukraine's allies pulled out, the economy is in shambles, and Russia's recruitment machine just seems to be unending. So from Putin running SEO ads for young Russian men to employing ex-convicts on the front lines, I mean, how do you beat that? So Putin, oh gosh, where was this going?
I'm sorry, it's the only picture of Vladimir Putin I could find. I don't know. It's just.
Hold on a second. This is from Mar-a-Lago. How did
This
you
is
get
from
it?
Mar-a-Lago this
This
past
is
week.
when you walk in. How did you get this?
I have connections. Me and Hunter Biden.
This is in the breaker's room.
This was on the laptop. I don't know.
The pre-release.
It's top secret.
Yeah, so Mr. Putin recently made a statement. He said his war objectives are unchanged for Ukraine, and he might just reach it. It just takes some time.
Do you want to hear some damning fucking statistics from this war? Because I know what you're saying. It seems like they're winning. They ain't winning.
This
90%.
picture's great. I'm sorry.
Well,
this picture's insane. I love it.
I did find one other picture. We can just. Okay. While we do this,
Is that vegan leather?
I believe that is vegan leather. That's the only kind that Trump likes. So, 315,000 Russian soldiers have died. That's 90% of the original army. Let me put that into context for you. All right, hold that number in your head. 315,000 Russian soldiers dead. In World War I, pretty deadly war, 53,000 Americans died. 53,000, a sixth. Okay. In Vietnam, 58,000, right? Obviously, an awful, bloody, terrible war. 58,000 versus 315,000 Russians. The war on terror obviously lasted 20 years, 7,000 soldiers. So Russia's lost 315,000.
We only killed 7,000 people in Afghanistan? Or
Americans
we lost,
we
okay.
lost 7,000. I know. Listen,
so let's just look at those
soldier-
odds. When people are saying that China should do something with Russia, I think you might want to run those numbers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now, keep this 315,000 Russians, only 30,000 Ukrainians have died. They are whooping their ass. That's a 10-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
But why are they
Right.
talking about these numbers? I just don't, I
Yeah.
fundamentally don't understand.
Here's the other thing I don't understand about any of it is this, right? And I'm just asking because I don't know anything about the military, but it sounds like in the military world we're number one.
Yeah.
Maybe not in reading and writing, but definitely with the weapons. I would say that if Russia, and again, I'm just asking, if Russia can't beat Ukraine, are they ready for us? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
And seemingly the only reason that they want to take over Ukraine is for strategic the strategic land areas that they will use.
They were free. Wait, I thought they were invading Ukraine to free out the Nazis or something. What was going on? What was his excuse?
Yeah, okay, man. There's so much. Yes, the denazification is a big part.
No, Nazification.
But here's the thing with Nazis. They generally don't pretend they're not Nazis, right? Like, so if Ukrainians were Nazis, they go, yes, we're Nazis, let's go to war. But the fact that they're like, we're not Nazis, they go, yes, you are. It's so fucking stupid. And to your point, the other thing is they want Ukraine because it's strategic. It's closer to other enemies. But like, you can't handle them. You think you're going to handle the rest of the fucking world? Because as soon as you fuck with a NATO country or a UN country, we're all coming for it. So I just don't understand what it is.
Like if something happens, like if Vladimir Putin's like, you know what, let me roll the dice on America. It's over. It's over for you, cowboy.
I think so.
Because I will tell you this, we will kill each other over anything.
Oh, yes.
But if there's a chance to give some freedom, we'll get together and do it. Now, what is the name of this movie coming out? This one called? This is I think Basic Instinct 3. Have you when he uncrosses his legs during the interview? It's a doozy. I don't know, Paul. What's your take on that?
Day 2024. Yeah.
Are you afraid of Russian occupation of Ukraine spreading throughout the rest of Europe and Asia?
I don't know that it can. I truly don't. I think they've already proven that they still have one major weapon: nuclear.
We all do.
Otherwise,
that's the problem.
I'm always an underdog. I'll put money on the underdog, and Ukraine is kicking their butt. Now it's costly, and I'm sad that our country's not, or others have lost sight of that, and all of a sudden now we're not going to give them money for the border and all that crazy nonsense. But the point is that if you feel like you're being bullied, stand up, because the bully isn't as strong as you think. I was a new kid in school like a dozen times. I got my rear end handed to me until I finally said, forget that. First day at school, new one, I found the biggest kid between classes, and I just started wailing on him. I'm like, because the teachers pull you off, and I'm like, okay, don't mess with that guy. He's crazy.
God damn it.
Yeah, you just got to set it down.
I used to kidnap the biggest kid.
Yeah, torture him in the basement.
Like, where is he at? And I'd be like, you asking questions? And then I'd grab them. Eventually, we had 3 students.
Paul, are you sure you didn't
I
move
agree with what
elementary
you're
schools? Are you sure you didn't move prisons? I mean, I thought that was the prison rule. You find the biggest guy and you beat the shit out of him. Like,
Right.
you're doing this shit in third grade? Damn.
I said we moved a lot. I haven't said that we were in witness protection, but
All right, we'll get that.
I guess it's out now. So my real name, it's for later in the show.
It's his real name is Robin Valdez.
well, this is awkward. All right, you want to talk about rice now? This next story is near and dear to Robin's heart. I know.
It is. So it's a complete 180 from the last story, where like Russian military never seems to get any breaks. So we head to Southeast Asia, where Indonesian military have been asked to help farmers plant rice because we love our rice. So it begs the question: there are a lot of countries that actually have very large active military forces, but they're not really necessary. So I feel like the need for an active military force is solely a problem because humans are greedy and they would just want to steal other people's stuff. So there's just so much wasted manpower, in my opinion, that could easily be used for common good. But of course, we have to worry about other people stealing our stuff. So these are actually all active military personnel, just planting rice.
Rice is tough to, first of all, I know nothing. So it grows in water, ostensibly, right? This is what rice looks like. I had no fucking idea. This is what rice. So I guess my question is, and maybe and I don't want to say because you're Asian and you eat rice 3 times a day. This is what you said. But like, aren't there machines? Like when we plant stuff here, there's a bunch of fucking machines. We don't have guys bending over for the most part. Is it different? Is it harder because it's water-based to get machinery in there? Like, I don't understand. Why is the army doing this? Can't you just...
Do you guys have microwaves? That's how we get our rice. Grab it out of the freezer and put it in the microwave. And then
Yeah, where's Uncle Ben? You don't have an Uncle Ben over there?
You guys heard about... Does the Philippines have an Uncle Ben? An equivalent?
I'm not sure exactly if like the machinery has trouble in rice paddies because it's so wet, because rice needs a very like moist environment. But from what I've seen,
they just grew it underground, like hydroponically, because it needs water.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Garrett probably knows. Is Garrett here? He'll tell us. See, I already know all the answers. I'm just asking.
I just think if the military needs to be called in to do some job, like fucking planting rice.
Now you said this is the military here?
Yeah, it's the military.
What's the uniform scheme here? Joanne's Fabrics? I got to be honest. They're not going to be hiding from anybody.
Like, it's camouflage, right? I don't see anybody
right in. Can I show you this though? So remember when Robin said he eats rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and he was telling us about chocolate rice, and we were like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, you found it?
Look at this shit. Is it? Is that it?
Ah, Jumperado, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, this looks good. What's the goo on top here?
That's the
sugar.
I think that's condensed milk.
More sugar,
pretty much.
You're right. Look at
Robin.
that.
I see you have a bowl of sugar here, a bowl of glucose in front of us. Glycogen.
Wait, before you hate on this chocolate rice thing is really delicious. Try it.
I don't think it looks bad
like
at all.
Nutella?
Yeah, if it looks and tastes anything like Nutella, I'm on board.
All right, well, I could do it.
All right, well, you got to get your rice issue. Oh, man, we don't have much time left. Let's go to Coke. You want to go to Coke?
There's a rice problem.
Coke. Oh, okay, so the Coca-Cola Company, probably the biggest beverage brand in the world by far. So apparently they've run into some manufacturing hiccups where about 2,000 cans were recalled because of potential foreign material getting to the beverage. It's unclear what the foreign material was, but I think there's enough crap in these drinks to like not want to drink it in the first place.
Yeah,
it's not really much to talk about in this article. I thought it would be more interesting, but it does give us an opportunity to talk crap about sodas. So prior to the story, I didn't know that Sprite, Fresca, Fanta, Coke, Powerade, and Minute Maid all come from the same company.
Oh yeah, baby.
Look on the back, it says Coca-Cola, and so does Topo Chico. Fresca's amazing, but it's very high, very, very high in calories. You got to go with the Fresca Light. Go on.
Yeah, so, Coke owns water too, right? I mean, they own is it Dasani or one of them?
Yeah, they own Dasani. I think Pepsi owns them, and then they own the other one. Yeah. They own everything.
Well, okay, that's a good point. So they said, so Coke provides 2.2 billion of the 64 billion beverages consumed each day. That's a pretty good corner on the market, considering how big the planet is. I mean,
and they talk about it as share of stomach. No joke. I've got a friend who's an exec at PepsiCo, and that's instead of market share, they talk about share of stomach. Right. So that's the whole KFC and Taco Bell and all that's part of PepsiCo, because they want to have more share of your stomach.
No, God bless America.
A funny point about that is that when I was in college, I asked one of our professors in business. They were talking about monopolies were illegal. At which point I said, "Why do we only offer Coca-Cola here? You can't get no Pepsi." They didn't have any answers, and I said, "Well, Pepsi was the taste born in the Carolinas. Apparently, that was just a marketing scheme. It was born everywhere." Red Richardson has a really good skit on Coke and Pepsi, and how he's like, they must be bribing people. This is what he said. He goes, "Here's the worst thing in the world. You go to a restaurant, you say, I want to get a Coke,' and they're like, 'Is Pepsi okay?' You know it's not okay. Get out of here."
Yeah, but I don't have an option, so I guess it is. To
Robin, argue that Pepsi is better.
You're gonna say Pepsi's better than Coke?
Yeah, it has I don't know, distinguished taste for me.
Distinguished?
It's not as heavy. It's not as heavy in the end. It's not.
Wow.
Well, I like Coke better.
When you said, here's the thing. All right, so there's foreign particles, whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. What you should be concerned with is what you know it's in it. And this is a goddamn shit ton of sugar. I know people don't really use sugar cubes anymore, so it's not exactly a great description. But if you look at Coke down here on the far right, 9.2 tablespoons in a can of Coke.
Now, this doesn't have fentanyl in it, right? This Coke here. Is this what you're saying?
I don't think there's any fentanyl in it.
Oh, no, this is sugar. God, I'm sorry.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, who the fuck drinks bottles of Sunny D? But that's 8 tablespoons. I've been drinking a lot of Gatorade lately, and it's 8 tablespoons of sugar.
Do you remember when they used to have drug day or dare, and they'd bring it and they'd have the board of drugs? And I was like, "Are those the real drugs?"
Yes. They'd
be like, "No, it's not the real." I was like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "Wow." I was just curious because I'm thinking,
because that shit looks great.
That board's going to disappear.
And again, I don't know what number makes sense, but in each one of these is almost 2 shot glasses full of sugar. That's so much fucking sugar. It's almost like cigarettes. I get surprised when I see people smoking cigarettes. I'm getting to the point where I'm surprised when I see people drink Coke. I mean, it's so bad for you.
What would you do if you saw someone smoking a cigarette while drinking a Coke? You would just say, "You've died already."
I would assume that they're from Florida and pregnant. That's what I would guess.
I felt
that's more of a Mountain Dew crowd.
That is more of a Mountain Dew crowd. What, Robin?
I felt a lot less guilty putting teaspoons of sugar in my coffee after seeing how much sugar there is in other beverages. Does anyone else drink sugar with coffee?
I don't anymore, but they would be like, only because they said how bad sugar is, but no one puts 8 tablespoons of fucking sugar in a coffee. It's like 1 or 2, right?
Like 1 teaspoon.
Well, the other thing is that they said sugar's bad for you. You can't use Splenda, right? Because it's going to kill you. And now Coke's calling. Now this is what I'm confused about. What foreign objects were they concerned about? The usual stuff?
I don't know.
But new foreign object stuff.
Do you remember this stunning year in the United States where there were syringes and Pepsis? Do you remember that awful?
Some lady said there was a finger in her salad it chopped. I said, that sounds fitting. It might have been chopping just a little too fast. Choppity chop. Is that a carrot? No, it's Susan's finger.
Well, if they leave it in the can long enough, it's going to disintegrate anyway, right? You drop a tooth in, right? So
that's how they clean engines. They drop it into the Pepsi. They clean the engines off that way, right? Now how they kills the weeds.
This was such a dumb story too, because I've never been inside a fucking Pepsi factory, but something tells me that they're canned very quickly. You don't have time to fucking throw a syringe in there. It's giant machines. They
barely have enough time to throw the chemicals in there.
Exactly.
And the fentanyl.
They don't need a syringe. They just got to open the top.
I was watching a fiction documentary the other day about what if Nazi Germany won the World War II. Apparently, if they did, the most consumed beverage would be Fanta.
Yes, the Europeans love Fanta. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they do. And it reminds me of an 8-year-old's birthday party. When you're like, "You guys have Sunkist? We have Fanta."
That's all we need.
So no Sunkist.
It's not a party without some Fanta. So we've covered cupcakes, Coke. Do you want to go to donuts before we get to
this? Is like a sugary episode.
It's a very sugary episode.
Paul, it's a shame you don't work in the sugar business. We're really lining it up for you.
I didn't realize there was that much in it, so I'm calling my broker later, and we're going to do some futures on sugar and some rice.
Start moving the money.
Oh,
this looks nice.
Okay, so this is actually our Florida man story of the day. Though it actually happened in Australia. I'd argue that's kind of Florida and Australia are kind of the same thing.
Absolutely.
They're extremely patriotic. Wildlife keeps trying to kill each other. And they have some interesting personalities. So the story is one of these interesting personalities, a Australian woman. she was charged with stealing a delivery van, and the contents were 10,000 Christmas-themed Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yep.
So it's kind of unclear if she knew the contents of the van, but if she did, she's probably a horrible human being because they found the van a week later and all the donuts were spoiled. Now, I understand from you guys that Dunkin' Donuts is actually the better donut
It's
brand.
not Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's Dunkin', and America runs on it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I think Krispy Kreme donuts are better than Dunkin' Donuts. I just don't know about the coffee differential. Not that Dunkin' Donuts coffee is great, but this chick is crazy.
Krispy Kreme, or was this Dunkin' Donuts? I'm confused. I'm sorry.
They're Krispy Kreme.
This was Krispy.
I thought Krispy Kreme only made one kind of donut.
No, that's just their signature donut. They make a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
But this lady is like the Joker in The Dark Knight Returns. Remember when he just burns the pile of money because he just likes to watch the world burn? She stole the donut. She didn't even fucking eat them. She just parked it somewhere and let them rot. That's a real shitty thing to do, isn't it?
That's criminal.
It is fucking criminal.
Go away.
Maybe she didn't like sugar.
Maybe, but I'll say this because I turn everything into a competition. Australian woman steals 10,000 donuts, has nothing on Florida man. I'm going to show you why. I just picked 4 random Florida man stories. All right. I didn't go out of my way to get particularly crazy ones. Number 1, Florida man busts into ex delivery room, fights her new boyfriend, and she's giving birth. Okay. He broke into the delivery room to fight the new father. All right. God bless America. Florida man can't produce driver's license for police, shows them a mixtape instead. If you can't use your rap CD as a form of legal identification in the United States, what has happened to this country?
Well, what else? Where are we going here?
I don't know. Florida man charged with assault with a deadly weapon after throwing an alligator through Wendy's drive-through window. All right, Australian lady that steals a truck of donuts. Are you throwing alligator?
It's like hold my beer, hold my donut.
Exactly. And Florida man arrested for beating drag queen with a tiki torch while dressed as a member of the Klan, now running for mayor. And you know he's going to win, and that's the important thing.
Oh my gosh.
Now hold on a second.
Horrible.
This is Matt Gates?
This is Matt.
Who is it? Okay, this is Matt Gates. That makes sense.
This
so
was
he didn't make mayor. He's the senator. Got it.
Isn't it beautiful? Isn't Florida?
You just grab some of the. I mean, this is riveting.
I know.
Kinds of journalism. I'm impressed. Really,
imagine being a journalist in Florida. You don't have to work very hard.
It writes itself.
It really does.
That's right. It's the easiest job in the world.
It's a gift. You want to do our one real story of the day, or one real? Well, I don't know. I guess the Putin thing was real. This has got a lot of people heated. I agree with for once. I agree with the comment section of FoxNews.com. It was bound to happen eventually, I guess. I know.
Okay. Wait, is this about the Boston party thing? Okay. So this is a bit controversial, and it's good because we like controversy. So recently there was a holiday party arranged in Boston called the Electeds of Color Holiday Party. So officials were invited to this Christmas party, but only if they weren't white. So they eventually found out. I know you're going to giggle. They eventually found out about this when the invitation was mistakenly sent to a few white officials, and it sparked some outrage. And in my opinion, honestly, rightly so. So I'm half white, half Asian. And I find it myself difficult to identify with myself. So like on this show, I'm the Asian kid, but in Asian parties, I'm the white guy. So it's difficult enough. Now, people are trying to defend that non-whites should have their own parties and gigs. I disagree with this because the only thing that this does is cause further division between racial groups. It's not empowering. Racial division shouldn't really be celebrated. We just want to be part of one community.
Yeah, I love how. So the problem was, it started because they sent the invitation to the white people. So somebody got in trouble for sending an email to white people, which is just fucking. It's funny, but you can't do this. Like this is my team, and this is what fucking bothers me about this. You can't say racism is bad on one hand and then go, well, it's fine for us because you're white. We did that for so long, and it was awful and bad and terrible, and we're trying to move away from it. And I'm not like personally offended because I'm a white guy. I'm just saying we have to be consistent in our beliefs. It can't be that we accuse the right all the time of cherry picking. They were the party of family values until Trump came. We're the party of anti-racism until it's racism against white people. Pick a fucking side and live that side. That's my issue with this, is the blatant hypocrisy.
So we missed the party. Is that what I'm hearing?
We missed the party. I'm not upset about that. I didn't want to go anyway. But just, oh, and then one of the black elected officials comes out and he goes, yeah, well, we have different kinds of parties for different kind of people all the time. Yes, not based on race, you fucking moron. Like you can't.
We usually keep it based on sense, your IQ, right?
Right.
It was me. I sent the email, guys. It was me.
Well,
and I'm upset. Robin identifies as the Asian kid. I was identifying as the Asian kid. I thought you were identifying as Kid Commie. I thought you were the communist.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, somebody called him Kid Commie once. So here's the other part of the story, which I find interesting. I don't think she's racist. And this is why I don't think she's racist. She's married to a white guy. Not only is she married to a white guy, but his name is Connor Pewarski. Like, if it gets whiter, if you can come up with a whiter name than Connor something Polish. And he's a real estate agent. He is peak Caucasian. So again, I do not think she is racist. I just think she thinks it's okay.
She's not the mayor of DC. Or no, where?
Boston,
sorry.
She's my mayor. So, Paul, what do you think about this?
Forget about it. Yeah, there's hypocrisy everywhere. We see it. I'm guilty of it too. I got problems where I see something happen. I'm like, man, they're just not from Texas. Now, I'm not from Texas. And someone from the Northeast, right? We go to the Northeast and they're like, oh, stupid Texans. I mean, what are they doing? Come on, get out of the way. I got somewhere to go. So
do you think there's ever parties where Texans aren't invited as a rule, like no Texans? Because you're always shooting your guns in the sky, right? You're all a bunch of Yosemite Sams, aren't you?
Just heard Cruz.
Yeah. It's in California, and Florida. We're not allowed in those states.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. You guys are fucking crazy, but not all white people are crazy. Michelle Wu, come on.
You ever notice when you meet someone from Texas, right? Like if you're outside of the country, I always notice this. And like you'll say, oh, where are you from? And most people will be like, oh, I'm from the States or whatever. And if you're meeting anyone from Texas, they'll always be, I'm from Texas. They never say like the United States. And when they say Texas, even people don't speak English are like, they know it. They know it.
Yeah. Texas wants to secede, don't they? You want to be your own little thing down there? You want to be your own country?
Well, Texas is the only state in the union that has the constitutional right to secede from the union.
I got to tell you, though, it's going to be you.
And I'm not Texan. I married one and love her dearly. I'm from California.
Well, you're going to have to pick a side when the war starts. Whose side? Are you on America's side or your wife's side?
Are you on Kimberly Guilfoyle's side or are you on Gavin Newsom's side?
Right.
I'm heading to Baja with my boards, and y'all just do what you're gonna do, and I'll be back when the dust settles.
Yeah. The worst thing about this article is that I have to admit that the right is right. They're right. This is an indefensible position. You cannot, if we're saying that you can't segregate parties that the taxpayer pays for, by the way, that's another part of this. This was on the taxpayer dime. And we weren't invited because we're white. Why?
I don't understand. Robin can go.
Because you don't pay your taxes.
Well, we weren't elected.
It's neither here nor there.
We weren't elected.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we got it this far. Paul, it's time to talk about you. Excited?
Oh, enough about me. What do you think about me? Right.
Oh, you're gorgeous. All right. You want to give us a little background before we get into the specifics? How'd you want to give us your superhero origin story? What animal were you bit by?
Yes. Yeah, I was born on Cantron, and then I flew in a ship here.
Nice.
Born and raised Southern California. I'm in the 27th house I was born in since I was been born. 25 by the time I was 30. So lots and lots of moving. No, we weren't with the military, but we were kind of around the military. And I don't know why we moved. I really do think it was something to do with law enforcement or the police were after us or whatever. But
you never asked your father why you were moving?
He said
your father was Jack Reacher.
Yeah, kind of. He said, you can find something to love here, or you can find something to hate here. It's your choice, but we're here.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
So okay. Yeah. So you took the choice, and then started my first business when I was right out of college, 20-something. Left home at 18, worked my way full time through school. And then after I sold that first company, I'd lived in my car for 2 months to make, salary and payroll and stuff. And we grew the business. It was great. Enjoyed that, but I didn't understand a lot about corporations. So decided to go corporate, did that for a while. And long story short, it kind of led me to understanding a few things about myself and why I see the world a little bit differently. That has helped companies in 31 industries, 27 countries make 2.5 billion in annual new revenue. So I thought instead of just making that money for them, I'd show them how to do that. And that's where I came up with peripheral thinking. There's a lot of backstory to that, but I don't want to give it away right off the bat.
Oh, you're going to bleed it out.
That's a great
Smart.
story.
Do you think moving a lot when you were younger is a strength now, or do you think it was like not really that good for you?
It was certainly hard, no question. But it did you did learn how to read people and how to either make friends or find a way to, get to the principal's office early and be that crazy kid that's going to leave you alone for, 6 months. Your first, as a new kid in school, the girls are like, "Oh, cool, new guy." Guys are like, "The new guy." Mm-hmm. So, girls are whatever, and the guys are, and I'm vertically challenged anyway. So I just had to learn how to defend myself. And you can see I didn't do a really good job. This thing is just so jacked up. There's nothing left in the nose. So long story short, I think it was a good thing. I learned a lot, but the backstory is that I found out I was dyslexic at age 40. So up to that point, I was stupid, lazy, dumb, a daydreamer, an outsider, all those kinds of things labeled by teachers and even into my corporate career. And I didn't understand that it just took me a lot of hard work. I'm always working 12, 14-hour days when everybody else is done because it just took me longer to get through the written and the reading kind of portions. And so at 40, I went, oh, I get it. Now I understand why it takes me longer, but I also understand why my brain works the way it works. Because dyslexia, it's not a disease. It's not even a disability. It's just a learning difference. And the brain is wired differently. And when that light bulb came on, I started digging into it. And you may not know it, but throughout history, some of the most prolific innovators and business pioneers, world-class athletes were dyslexic. Only about 10 to 15% of the population is born with dyslexia, but 20 to 30% of entrepreneurs and nearly 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic.
God damn, how do I get some dyslexia? What can I do?
Right on. Did you know?
So what happens when you view something, right? So I understand. I'm asking for Robin. So when you view like words, right? It's in reverse. Is that? I'm not being funny. I'm like, is that how it works?
There's lots of different forms of dyslexia. Okay. Some is just the inability to. At the basis, it's the inability to form the sound that a character makes or a group of characters make. And yes, there are other things. For my dyslexia, I grab words from further down in the page and insert them into the sentence, therefore making the sentence not understandable. And it takes a while.
Gotcha.
But on the opposite side, the brain can see. Medically, we've been proven to have a broader peripheral vision. We see more, we have a broader view, and we have more detail in the periphery, thus the peripheral thinking. So long story short, there's 19 skills, 6 categories based on your research. And I've translated those for neurotypical people because we can't birth enough dyslexics to fill the need of these cognitive skills. NASA actively, about 50% of NASA is dyslexic.
So you're telling me not enough people have dyslexia?
That's exactly right. Based on the World Economic Forum's studies.
Tommy Lee has dyslexia. I'm not, I'm just saying like I'm trying to think of people like Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee, the drummer?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not comparing you to him. I'm just saying like, I know he's dyslexic and obviously he's wildly successful.
Yeah. So we can go back in time. Edison, Da Vinci, Agatha Christie.
I've heard of them.
JFK, Aaron Brockovich, Richard Branson, Barbara Corcoran, Muhammad Ali, Kobe Bryant.
Not bad.
All dyslexic, but all innovators.
Yeah.
So there's a high chance that someone else on the show is also dyslexic, and we're just don't know.
There's a 10 to 15% chance that there is. Yeah,
it's probably Robin. We learned recently. Robin's a genius.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Recently, yeah, he recently learned.
You said on your website you're a 5th generation innovation whisperer. 5th generation, so that means your father, grandfather, great grandfather. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, it's dyslexia and neurodiversity is genetic. And, I come from generations of artists and poets and musicians, all innovators and all being able to see things others miss. So I see things, and it's not, I'm not bragging. That's not the point. It's just that I see things that other people miss, and I'm able to connect those things in unique ways to create something new, different, opposite, something that differentiates. And I see where opportunity is. So other people are seeing obstacles and challenges that I'm like, yeah, that's there. But do you see these 5 other things? We don't even have to go down this path. We can go right there and be 3x more successful than we are right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but that's not us. Right. Well,
it better get to be in you.
I can tell you it's a lot of commonality.
Yeah.
So with Peripheral Thinkers, is it it's a consultancy, but you also do speaking gigs? Like what are all of the offerings?
Yeah, so Peripheral Thinkers is just the umbrella organization. Yes, I do keynote speaking, I'm writing another book, but Peripheral Thinkers as an organization focuses on helping those organizations, companies, most often the C-suite, who know they can do more with their company, but just can't quite get there, or they've reached a plateau. We help them identify, find, and apply new perspectives, new insights to, 2x, 3x, 4x their business, whether that's in revenue, productivity, profit, or just expansion. The goal is to help them see what they're not seeing. So, I'll ask them, what do you think a bakery in Bulgaria has in common with a steel mill in Spain? What does a distribution center in Denver have to do with a movie theater in Malaysia? Well, what does a flu in China have to do with unemployment around the world? Okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? So conventional wisdom is the enemy of progress. Conventional wisdom says, stay in these lines. It's supposed to be well-intentioned, but without a broad set of experiences and perspectives, it's narrow.
Yeah.
So I break down those walls.
I think the conventional wisdom thing, those are the words that you use. The way I think about it is logic. Like everyone does things that are logical because it makes sense. But if logic was going to solve your problem, would have done it by now. So you almost have to think illogically, which I think is the same general thing that you are.
Right. So they talk about, instead of linear thinking, there's lateral thinking. Peripheral thinking goes beyond lateral. It doesn't just go and look at the same issue from different angles. Peripheral thinking goes out and finds similar challenges and objectives that are outside of that industry or experience, and then brings those lessons back in and now uses that as a filter to look at the challenge or the goal.
How deep do you get embedded with these companies? Is it a 1 week thing, a day? Like, is it multiple X? Like, what's a typical engagement look like in terms of time and scope?
So it's typically a 30 to 90 day work with the executive team. We walk through some of the challenges they're facing, identify what the gaps are in their strategy in achieving their goal or overcoming challenges, and then we apply specific peripheral thinking skills. We teach those skills as the catalyst for making those changes, filling the gaps, achieving the goals. Okay. From there, you start to see, when that starts happening and they start verbalizing as an executive team what's happening, then the organization, 10 to 15% of the organization raise their hand and go, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Gotcha.
And you go, okay, those are your dyslexics that didn't tell you they were dyslexic, but they're picking up what you're putting down because they were born this way. Let's use their insight, make sure that we get them in positions that are valuable for the organization and allow it to sort of spread naturally throughout the company. There still needs to be logic. I'm not talking about just people walking around. Oh, I have an idea. Yeah. I have an idea. Everybody's got an idea. It doesn't mean it's a good one. Yeah. It's just the different perspectives, and those perspectives go beyond the 4 walls of a virtual organization. Yes. We all have life experiences that have a lot more to do with what we can do than most people think.
You also say be the disruptor, not the disrupted, right? That's exactly. What does that mean?
Exactly. So when faced with a change, you probably know this. You've seen people in organizations that when they face a change, they do more than just adapt. They innovate, and they just keep moving. Think of Richard Branson and all the companies that he's built and invested in and created from seemingly nothing. Then faced with that same challenge, there are other people in companies that they muscle their way through the demands and the changing market, and they come out the other side having adapted, but with little or no noticeable improvement, or that it's not sustainable. And then there are very few that ignore change and just expect problems to pass them by. Okay, so those are the folks. You can either adapt to the changes that are coming at you from your environment. I just wrote a newsletter this month for this specifically, adapting. You can adapt, and it's a good trait to be adaptable, right? All these changing environments, but it's still reactive.
Yeah.
So you can adapt to the changes that are coming at you from your environment, or you can make the change in yourself and in your company and make the change to the environment. Right. You can be the disruptor that others have to adapt to. Not in a negative way. I'm not saying go take over Oklahoma, right. Which Texas wouldn't do anyway, but you get the idea. You don't go just say, I'm going to make the change and you're just going to have to live under. No, get out in front of it. The best way to avoid a punch is not be where the punch is going. You got to be somewhere else. Yeah, and the best way to deliver a knockout punch is to strike where your opponent's not looking. So create your own environment, change your environment. And that's being the disruptor, not the disrupted. Get on the offense, play good defense, learn from it, but then go score some points and deliver the knockout.
I agree. I don't think enough people play offense. I think we're very defensive. I think we're very reactionary. I don't think that's the way to go.
Yeah, we'll always be playing catch up. Exactly. You keep playing catch up. You're part of the margin. You're in the majority, and the majority gets marginalized, and the worst of the majority become irrelevant. So, business owners, hey, if you're listening, don't be just adaptive. Learn from that. Yeah. Then get on the offense. Take those lessons. Find other references that you can glean information from, other insights from other industries, like in your periphery. Use that as your launch pad to do the next, whatever. Build the next, create the next. It reminds me of, when JFK said, we're going to the moon by the end of the decade, right? Conventional wisdom wet itself and it just passed out in the corner. Yeah. In peripheral thinking, all those NASA people are like, all right, let's go. And they talked to every industry around the world and said, we'll take every idea we need. I don't know how to do this yet. Yeah. And they literally wove together technology and materials, process and procedures. July 16, 1969, land a person on the moon. Right. They took the offense. They changed the environment. They created the playing field.
That was Joe Biden in the corner, Eric. Pride.
I think that the desire to be in the middle of the pack is it's in us, because for hundreds of thousands of years, being in the middle kept you alive. It
also keeps you alive on the road.
That's
tickets. So just wanted to clarify there. Safe. That is very safe in driving.
So as soon as you're the one that breaks away, you're the one that gets eaten by the lion for 100.
You're the ticket. You get a ticket,
or you get the ticket. Right. The one that stands out is usually that's a position of danger. But in business, in many aspects of life, that's the advantageous position. But I think in our heads, it's a difficult thing to reconcile.
Right. But the guy that developed the spear and some fire and killed the lion, was the hero because they brought the meat back for the tribe.
That's right. And he got laid.
So you can lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I say there's no follow or get out of the way. Follow is just learning. Mm-hmm. Take it in. Yeah. There's so much more. There are more answers than questions, more choices than challenges out there right now. There are more paths. In fact, right now, okay, again, if you're watching and you're really serious about this, let me tell you that right now, there's no hype. Right now, you can access everything you need to achieve anything you can imagine. It's available right now. And it was available before AI became all exciting. Of course, AI has been around a long time because algorithms have been around since math.
Yeah.
Right. So the elements you need,
and at its purest form, and you're absolutely sorry,
Right.
At its purest form, AI is just algorithms.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I have learned a ton from my friend Ivan, who owns 6 bakeries in Bulgaria. I do that as part of a bit in my speech. And someone came up and said, "Oh, I have a friend who's a baker in Bulgaria. Who do you know?" I said, "Well, it was really more just an analogy. But now that you say it, I want to know." So I found this guy, Ivan. He owns 6 bakeries.
How are his cupcakes? Are his cupcakes good?
Yeah. Does he do cupcakes?
He has a different ratio of the 1/3 to 2/3. So he's
that's what I was worried about.
Frosting, 1/3 cake. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it works for him because he knows his market.
Yeah, well, Eastern Europe's a whole nother crazy place. So when we were in the green room, Rodney said something to the effect of, no, just being a speaker is a great gig because it's sort of a rock star-esque. You're on stage.
It is rock star. Everybody's excited, Like when I used to work for companies, people would get all the pieces about the speaker.
Right. You get up there, everyone pays attention to you, you get paid, you're special, the lights are on you. And then you sort of, it was a throwaway line, but you're like, how do you get to do that? Paul, you get to do that. So I guess, how do you get to do that?
How do you get to do that? The quickest way to become a professional speaker. So there are public speakers, which means you went to Toastmasters or something, and which is a great organization, and you can give a speech.
Okay.
Professional speaker is you get paid, and to do that, you need to have an idea, a big idea, a bold idea, a transformational idea that changes the way the audience thinks, feels, and acts. And the speech that I'm giving now, I've spent 3 years on.
Wow.
So it is a lot of energy. It takes a lot of repetition, and to be a professional speaker, you need to go through the creative process of developing your message. One, you need to have something to say, and saying, telling jokes and stuff. You can be a professional speaker and be funny, and people will invite you back. But the transformational ones are the ones that fill their calendar, and they fill it year after year after year after year, and they make some pretty significant coin. It's a difficult lifestyle. It sounds fun to be a rock star, but you've all seen the Bon Jovis. I've been around the world and I've rocked a million faces, right? And they're dog tired. Of course, they had a private jet, but they're flying. Yeah. So a lot of times sitting in airports and cabs and hotel rooms for that 30 to 60 minute on stage, and then you're off and you're going to the next one.
Not so glamorous, you're saying?
Lots. Yeah. 2 million miles on American.
Oh, Lordy. So
that's a lot of miles.
How do you get booked? Do you have a booking service?
There are bureaus. The best way to get booked as a speaker is to have an awesome speech.
Ah, shit.
You have that
down to the work. Oh, no one ever had so.
It's all that work, all that preparation. It's like, digging through the news to find the really important stuff about people in Florida that do silly things.
That's all we do.
Right? It's hard work.
We're experts at that work.
Easy.
You got to work it up. And then
I knew there was someone in Florida somewhere that threw something at somebody at some fast food. And I was fucking determined. And then I said, oh my God, this guy, alligator, Wendy's. But I didn't let the obstacles stand in my way. I leapfrogged them. I'm under.
Yeah, right. You're right. You're working in the periphery, man.
That's right.
You're grabbing the content that's going to change the world right there.
Thank you for understanding. You hate the phrase thinking outside the box, right?
I do.
Why do you
What about thinking outside the bun? Remember that one for Taco Bell?
Yes.
I
have a tattoo. I got a tramp stamp that says that.
Yeah. Kicked you where the Lord split you. The thinking outside the box. And this is just the peripheral thinker. The problem with that phrase is that it in itself has a self-limiting component to it. The box. Thinking outside the box means I need to come back to the box. Now, there's a train of thought that says innovation through constraints is good because it increases the speed with which you innovate, right? So I have to stay in the box now, being innovative inside the box. Cool. But where it dies is it doesn't explain how the content, how the information gets into the box, which is the people. So peripheral thinkers don't think outside the box. They think. There is no box. So therefore, there are no rails. There are no controls. There aren't any conventions that I have to then try and force fit my idea back into.
So fuck the box in totality, we're saying. Just no boxes. We don't like boxes. Anti-boxes.
Just thinking outside.
Yeah. And I'm having a party for anybody that is not a box.
I don't support that.
Need some help with an email list because I can't sort it properly.
What's it all? It's going to be triangles and circles. That's all you're into? You fucking racist.
Yeah, I am. I am geometrically racist. Yes.
Certain shapes.
I read that in your bio, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, I guess we have to talk about it. Do you want to talk about big performance?
Sure. Eric Severson, the guy who put this together, he's got a series of these books. I think this was the second in 4 or 5 of them. Yep. And he just contacts people around the world that he thinks are interesting. And for whatever reason, I think he thought I was the Paul Daniels magician from the UK. I'm not, but nevertheless, I got in.
Yeah, nice.
And
you're not the magician? Damn it.
I'm not, no. But it's a good entry line for my keynotes when I go to the UK.
What do you think about just real quick, what do you think about magicians? Are you a fan, or you think they're annoying like moms? I'm serious. I always ask people that.
Yeah. So what do I think? I think that the accomplished ones are incredibly talented. Mm-hmm. It's a unique skill and a mindset, having been, on stage and knowing what I have to deliver and having some flexibility on how to deliver that. Not so much with magic. It's not like, oh yeah, that part I forgot, but don't, it wasn't.
Look over here.
Yeah. It's got to be perfect every time.
You guys like David Blaine when he does all those weird stuff?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's been living up my ass. Is he a magician though? I thought he just did well, no, remember he used to do that one where he would levitate, but then he tried to teach us how to do it. And I was like, it doesn't make any sense, David. Yeah. But he froze himself in a block of ice in Manhattan and almost died.
Yeah.
I like it that they wear a lot of eye makeup. Like Chris Angel. Remember? A lot of eye makeup.
Chris Angel walked up the side of a building.
Yep. He's a mind freak.
Yeah. 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 And it's maybe illusionist is the right word. I don't know. I'm not one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
But I respect them. The ones that have made it, and I respect the people that are trying.
Well, their books are terrible.
To try something new from a different perspective. I'm all in.
Terrible authors, magicians. And then this is your website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to do something about that. So if you're
what's
watching,
wrong with it? It looks good.
I mean, you look like a magician in this one.
Yeah, I made all of those lights just come on by blinking, and it was there. Yeah, it was just a black screen before.
Not bad.
Yeah, was. Yeah, thank you. It's nice of you to put that up. It's under construction, but that's one way to find me. Certainly is there, and all the different things that we do, and you can see some of my speeches and stuff. But more importantly, I love just connecting with folks. So on the contact thing, you don't have to list any of the things. But for instance, if you go now to the site and you go on to contact, you can check the box chapter and put in the name of the show. And I'll send you a free chapter. I'll send you my chapter from that book.
Nice.
Peak Performance Mindset for Tools for Entrepreneurs, free. No questions. Cool. Not going to buy. I'm not going to sell you anything.
We should put a link in the show notes so they can send it.
I will do that.
Contact you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to send it to you guys. It'll be an electronic copy, and I'll personalize it for you, and you can have that free. And you can learn the story of how I use peripheral thinking to go to sell a $220 million deal when the year before the quota was 10. Wow. And I did it in 6 months using iced tea, land in North Texas, and a different strategy.
Wow. Look at you. International man of mystery.
I like iced tea. I won't lie to you.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, it's so weird that, when I made the analogy about prison, the idea is that you walk in and beat up the toughest guy, and then you moved around in schools a lot, and the idea was that you had to go beat up the toughest guy. Wouldn't that be great if you had to do that at new jobs? Like your first day on Amazon, you had to find the biggest nerd, beat the shit out of
parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, that still happens. It's just not necessarily physical, but
Yeah,
you know, you go and you kind of mark your territory and you go, oh, that's so nice. Yeah, don't mess with me like that.
You know something I used to do, Paul? I used to call it the old RS shuffle. This works like charm. I don't have a real job now. I employ myself. And I got to be honest, I'm the best boss I've ever had. But when I was working under others' employ, this is what I used to do. If you don't like somebody, this is a game changer. I do believe in karma, maybe not in the sense that everybody else did. So I said, how can I be free of karma for doing such a good deed? What I would do is when a recruiter would call me, I'd say, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I don't think I'm the fit for this place, but I got just the person for you. And you figure out, I'd be like, you know what? Who do I hate? I had a laundry list of them. And I would say, reach out to this guy. He's ready. And you're not going to believe it. After 6 months, I had gotten rid of everybody I didn't like.
Wow.
It was incredible.
100%.
Changing lives, Paul.
That's peripheral.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that in deals.
Yeah.
Where we've got someone on the buyer side that's going to be a blocker.
Yep.
And I've got a list of recruiters that I can call on and say, hey, this is the person. Can you help me find them a different job?
See, logic would tell you to cut their brakes or plant cocaine in their desk, get them, you know what I mean? But what you guys did, much smarter, much smarter.
And all right, that's why we're not in prison anymore, but we've all been in prison, so that's not a big deal.
The prison system is forgiving. So we did the hour. Paul, stick around, please, in the green room, but we have to log off. I survived the episode, so this was good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, goodbye, America. Have a lovely weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Goodbye.
Mahalo.